The mark of the beast is about human seed, DNA, and defiling God's temple, part 7. Revelation 13, verses 16 to 18. The mark of the Antichrist, the name of the Antichrist, the number of the Antichrist's name, and the Antichrist's number 666. And he, the false prophet, causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, or 666. In this presentation, I'm going to discuss the number of the Antichrist's name. Revelation 13, verse 17, the number of the Antichrist's name. So that number is 45. I repeat, 45. Donald Trump won the 2016 federal elections, and he was inaugurated the 45th American president in late January of 2017. Here are some common misconceptions about the characteristics and roles of the Antichrist based on Hollywood movies, social media platforms, social media warriors, and TV sitcoms. He must be very handsome, not true, or biblical. Everybody must love him, not true or biblical. He will solve all of the world's problems, not true. He will bring everlasting peace to the world, not true. Nobody will oppose him or his views, not true. He must be born a Jew, not true. He must come from the Middle East, not true. He must come from Europe, not true. He must be a homosexual, not true. Revelation 13, verse 5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. 42 months equals 3.5 years, one presidential term. The words highlighted in red, power and 42 months. So power means political power, because if we read Revelation 13:1, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads a name of blasphemy. A beast rise up out of the sea. So this refers to the Antichrist and the sea, meaning the political sea, or the sea of politicians. Okay, let's go back to Revelation 13, verse 5. Should Donald John Trump win the 2024 American federal elections, he will be inaugurated back in the Oval Office as the 47th American president in late January of 2025. So, political power will be given back to him. He will return on the political stage for 3.5 years. Daniel 11, verse 21. And in his estate shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably, by prosperity, by abundance, and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. And after the league made with him, he shall work deceitfully, for he shall come up and shall become strong with a small people. He shall enter peaceably by abundance or prosperity, even upon the fattest places of the province. And he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. I'm going to break down one verse at a time, beginning with verse 21. So Donald Trump is clearly that. He's a vile person, a vile man. He pokes fun at everybody. He calls Hillary a runt and a cheat. He calls Biden Sleepy Joe Biden. He calls Senator Warren Pocahontas, a racial slur. He pokes fun at people in his own family. He called Rosie O'Donnell the ugliest lesbian he's ever seen. And he even pokes fun at China. He pokes fun at Kim, the leader of North Korea. He makes fun of everyone. So, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom. Donald Trump didn't win the 2016 American federal elections by a landslide. He barely won. Hillary almost had him beat. She had almost beaten him. The 2016 federal elections, right? There was a lot of opposition from the Democrats all across America, and also the Democratic Party, Hillary's party. Okay, but he shall come in peaceably, by abundance, by wealth, by prosperity. So Donald Trump is considered to be a prosperous man. He's a wealthy man. He has an abundance of everything, right? He is a billionaire real estate tycoon. He owns a lot of real estate worldwide, and his children are multimillionaires. A lot of right-wing, conservative, evangelical Christians donated money towards his 2015 and 2016 campaign run, and they're also responsible for him having been the 45th American president. And obtain the kingdom by flattery. So, while Donald was president, he preached about boosting manufacturing in America, bringing back American manufacturing, relying less on manufactured goods made in China and in Europe. So he had many meetings with American auto manufacturers, and he would often compliment the CEOs of the companies and the owners of the companies. He developed some sort of buddy-buddy system. You rub my shoulder, I rub your shoulder back, right? He's been caught complimenting oil CEOs and oil company owners, right? He was very pro Keystone Pipeline, and Biden, since he's been in office, has scrapped the Keystone XL pipeline project. Verse 23, and after the league made with him, he shall work deceitfully. Well, is Trump an honest man? No, he's not. I mean, many people speculate that Russia was somehow involved in the 2016 federal elections. And Donald Trump even threw his own lawyer, Michael Cohen, under the bus. Michael Cohen dodged a bullet for Trump, right? How many people have dodged bullets for Trump and ended up in jail, right? He deals with people deceitfully. He even deals with American citizens deceitfully. I mean, he put all these sanctions on China, but guess who has to pay for the sanctions? You, the American people. So you've noticed an increase in goods, food goods and other goods, and services. Well, that's a lot in part because of the sanctions that Trump dumped on China and the Chinese people, and on China, sorry. For he shall come up and shall become strong with a small group, small people. So does everybody love Trump? No, not everybody loves Trump. So his main fan base is the right-wing evangelical conservatives, right? They're the ones who voted him into power in the year 2017 or 2016 rather. He shall enter peaceably, by abundance, by prosperity, even upon the fattest places of the province. So here the fattest places of the province refers to America, the country as a whole. And if you consider the fattest places of the province, like Texas, like the mid-belt where all the agriculture happens, a lot of the agriculture happens, Idaho potatoes and Utah, Nebraska, all these places, they're considered good places to grow crops, right? Texas has a lot of cattle, and look at all the areas that the Republicans won in that 2016 election. They won a lot of these areas, right? Texas, Idaho, and so on. And he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. So the Abraham Accord. He's done something that Obama failed to do, and George Bush Jr. failed to do, and Bill Clinton failed to do, and George Bush Sr. failed to do. He managed to get Arab League states such as Qatar, the Kingdom of Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates, Morocco, and Sudan to sign a peace pact along with Israel and America. And Trump signed that accord, even though it was negotiated on his behalf by his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who was then his political advisor, alongside Jason Greenblatt. Okay, let's continue. Strong's Concordance H7962. šālâ. Šālâ. What does šālâ mean? It means quietness, ease, prosperity, security, genuine or false, abundance, peaceably, prosperity, quietness. Okay, if you want to read it in different contexts, then read some of the scriptures below. In the context of Proverbs 1 verse 32, it means šālâ means prosperity. In the context of Daniel 11 verse 21 and verse 24, it means in time of security, of sudden attack. The Hebrew word šālâ. Psalm 122 verse 7. So this is one of King David's books, Psalms. Peace be within thy walls and prosperity within thy palaces. So here, prosperity means holistic prosperity. So spiritual well-being, physical well-being, and mental well-being, but especially spiritual well-being. To strive to be holier, to be on God's good side, right? To grow as a spiritual entity, to keep the commandments of God, to pray, to fellowship, to fast, and so on. Ezekiel 16 verse 49. Behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister Sodom, pride, fullness of bread, and abundance. šālâ of idleness was in her and in her daughters, neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and needy. So here, šālâ, the Hebrew word, Strong's Concordance H7962, šālâ, has a negative connotation, right? An abundance of material possessions, an abundance of material wealth. Mammon worship, the worship of material things like money and precious metals and houses and so on. And during the time of Sodom and Gomorrah, rich people didn't give anything to the needy and the poor. They hoarded all their wealth. Okay, let's continue. This is the root word of H7962 šālâ. So this is a primitive root, and the word is pronounced šālâ, šālâ. Strong's Concordance H7951. What does it mean, šālâ? The Hebrew word šālâ. To be at rest, prosper, be quiet, be at ease. 1. To be or have quiet. 2. To be at ease, prosper, to prosper. šālâ. To be tranquil, secure, or successful. Be happy, prosper, be in safety. Again, this is more of the same information that I just finished reading, so I won't read this again. Lamentations 1 verse 5. Her adversaries are the chief, her enemies prosper. Šālâ. For the Lord hath afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions. Her children are gone into captivity before the enemy. Another word for transgressions is sins. Sins means transgressions. So here the word prosper means the accumulation of wealth, not necessarily spiritual well-being, not necessarily physical well-being, and not necessarily mental well-being, but more of the physical accumulation of material objects. Psalm 122 verse 6. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. They shall prosper. Strong's Concordance H7951. šālâ, that love thee. So prosper here means mainly spiritual well-being, spiritual abundance. But it also means mental well-being and physical well-being, not just accumulating material things or mammon worship. Let's get back to Revelation 13, verse 17, the number of the Antichrist's name. Trump could very well run again for president in the 2024 American federal elections. If Trump wins, his second term will begin in the year 2025. Trump and Grover Cleveland, a former American president, will only be the second American president to have served 2 presidential terms in the Oval Office, 3.5 years apart from each other. If such a situation were to manifest, Trump would be the 45th and the 47th American president. Or he could return on the political stage if he wins in Congress and becomes a Speaker of the House of Congress. If anything deadly were to happen to the current president and the vice president while Trump is a Speaker of the House of Congress, well, Trump would automatically become president. So for the time being, the number of his name is the 45th American president, or 45. Should he win the federal elections in 2024, we can also add the number 47 to the numbers of his name. So 45 and 47. But for the time being, it's the number 45. Daniel 8 verses 23 to 25. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors have come to full, a king of fierce countenance, and understanding dark sentences, shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power, and he shall destroy, corrupt, wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy, corrupt, the mighty and the holy people. And through his policy also he shall cause deceit, mirma, to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace, prosperity, shall destroy many. So I'm going to break down one verse at a time. Oh, I just want to add Daniel verses 23 to 25. Daniel 8 verses 23 to 25. Okay, so let's start with verse 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors have come to full, a king of fierce countenance. So look at Donald Trump's face. He literally looks like he's going to murder someone. He has this intimidating look. And understanding dark sentences. So Trump claims to be a Presbyterian, a Christian, but he cannot even recite a single verse from the Bible. He can't even mention a single verse from the Bible. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power, and he shall destroy. Okay, let's move on to verse 25. And through his policy, So people speculate the Antichrist has to be the Pope, a Pope or a bishop or a rabbi. Well, no. Policy. What does it mean to pass policies? What does it mean to sign bills into laws and to sign off on executive orders? It means that you're a politician and you deal with policies, right? And if you deal with policies, well, then you're a politician. We can just go back to Revelation 13, verse 1, a beast rise up out of the sea. So Donald Trump, he is the 45th American president, right? So he is considered a politician. And Revelation 13:5, and political power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Okay, so clearly policy deals with politicians, so therefore the Antichrist has to be a politician. And in this case, he was the last American president. Okay, and he very well could be the next American president. And he shall cause deceit, mirma, to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace, by abundance, by prosperity, shall destroy many. Again, he dumped all those sanctions on China, but you, the Americans, the taxpayers, have to pay for the hikes in food prices and services. So he deals treacherously, deceitfully. Strong's Concordance H4820, mirma. What does it mean, mirma? 1, deceit, treachery. Pronounced mirma. From the root word, Strong's Concordance H7411, in the sense of deceiving, fraud, craft, deceit, to be deceitful, or to deal deceitfully, false, fiend, guile, subtlety. Subtlety means to be cunning in a cunning manner or in a cunning fashion. Treachery. Genesis 27, verse 35. And he said, thy brother came with cunning or subtlety. Strong's Concordance H4820, and hath taken away thy blessing. So I'm sure you remember the story of Isaac. Isaac was Abraham's son. Isaac had 2 children, 2 boys. One was Esau, and the other was Jacob. Jacob later became Israel, right? Jacob was very smart, and he was favored by God. Esau was a brute. He was very strong, and he was very good with his hands, and he was a very good hunter. So one day, Isaac's son Esau went out to hunt venison, I believe. He went out to hunt deer in the fields. And upon his return, he was famished. He was very hungry. So he asked he asked his brother Jacob for a bowl of soup. Jacob said he would give his brother Esau a bowl of soup as long as he sold him his birthright. And Esau said, yes, brother, I'm very hungry. You can have my birthright. Now give me a bowl of soup, please. And that's exactly what Jacob did. And after Jacob stole his brother Esau's clothes, he wore them, and he took some goat hair and put the hair on his arms, and he went up to his father Isaac, who was old in age and half blind, I believe, so he couldn't see very well. He asked for his father Isaac's blessing. Jacob did. And Isaac mistook Jacob for Esau, and so he blessed Jacob. So Jacob stole Esau's blessing from their father Isaac. Okay, so Jacob did this sneakily, subtlety, in a cunning manner or a cunning fashion. 2 Kings 9 verse 23, and Joram turned his hands and fled and said to Ahaziah, there is treachery. Strong's Concordance H4820. Mirma, O Ahaziah. If you want to read the Hebrew word mirma in different contexts, then you then please look at some of these other scriptures and read them. Strong's Concordance H7411, Rama, Rama, Rama. So this is the root word of mirma. Okay, what does Rama mean? What does the Hebrew word Rama mean? 1, to cast, shoot, hurl. A, to throw. 2, bow shooters, bowmen. B, peel, to throw down. 2, to beguile, deceive, mislead, deal treacherously. A, peel, to beguile, deceive, mislead, trick. 2, to deal treacherously with, to betray. Rama, a primitive root, to hurl, specifically to shoot, figuratively, to delude or betray, as if causing to fall. Beguile, betray, bow, man, carry, deceive, throw. Genesis 29 verse 25, and it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, what is this thou hast done unto me? Did I not serve thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? Exodus 15 verse 21, and Miriam answered them, sing ye to the Lord, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea. So here it means throw, because remember, Rama can mean beguile, betray, carry, deceive, or throw. In Exodus 15 verse 21, it means throw. Okay. Will Trump become the 47th American president in the 2024 federal elections? We'll have to wait and see. Dates in chronological order, Donald John Trump's most recent interviews and campaigns. So he was at a pep rally in North Carolina on June 5th, 2021. Then he gave an interview to Fox News on June 30th, 2021. And then Trump was at another pep rally in Sarasota, Florida, close to his Mar-a-Lago mansion. And he did that on Independence Day, just recently, on July 4th, 2021. Let's watch some video clips.
Very tough, very dirty, and we just can't let it happen. We're going to win North Carolina's all-important U.S. Senate race, and we're going to lay the groundwork for making sure that Republicans once again carry the great state of North Carolina in a year that I look very much forward to, 2024. We're going to do numbers like you've never seen before. So many things are happening right now, but we're going to do things like you've never, ever seen before. I stand before you today confident that the people of North Carolina will decisively reject Joe Biden and the radical Democrats, the war on the American worker, the American family, and the American nation.
Let me ask the crowd of everybody here, would you like to see the president run again in 2024? You're not going to answer, but I have to ask. Where are you in the process of, let me ask you this, without giving the answer what the answer is, have you made up your mind?
Yes.
I think you got it right. Yeah.
US President Donald Trump is back on the campaign trail today, staging a huge rally and 4th of July celebration in his home state of Florida.
Yeah, Nine's US correspondent Amelia Adams joins us now from the rally. Amelia, this is not technically election season there. What's he up to?
I know on CNN will report they'll say
Dickie and Sophie, good morning. 2024 does seem a long way off, doesn't it? But look, it's always really election season here in America, and in a couple of hours Donald Trump will take to the stage here in his home state. He'll address the thousands of people who have come to see him, because next year's midterm elections are fast approaching, and he has vowed, Donald Trump, to help Republicans, well, the ones that he likes anyway, win back the House and the Senate as well. So he's on this comeback tour. Some have dubbed it a revenge tour, holding rallies in several states. I've got to say, it feels exactly like his election campaign rallies. It really is an enormous production, and if anyone is wondering why so many thousands of people would queue up, many of them overnight, to come and see a man who left office freshly impeached more than 6 months ago, well, that is because people that I've spoken to here today do not believe Donald Trump lost the election, which of course is exactly what he's been telling them ever since.
Oh, absolutely, he's our president, and it's going to be proven.
Joe Biden and the Democrats stole the election.
Do you think he moved America forward?
I think he did.
We're here to definitely support him in his bid, hopefully, to run in 2024.
The 24th president wasn't that different from the 22nd president. They were both lawyers from New York. They were both Democrats, and they were both Grover Cleveland. Cleveland was first elected in 1884, and he barely lost his re-election bid in 1888. Things weren't going so hot for Republicans when 1892 rolled around. The economy was bumpy, and the public was worried about the increasing power of big corporations. Voters kicked out Benjamin Harrison and brought Grover back to the White House. Unfortunately, the second time around wasn't so fun. Just months into Cleveland's term, the U.S. was rocked by the worst economic depression it had ever seen. The railroad industry was overbuilt, farmers were unable to pay their mortgages, and unemployment was at an all-time high. Grover quickly pressured Congress to cut back on the coinage of silver to fight inflation. It helped, but it ticked off rural Democrats in the West and South. Things got worse in 1894, when a huge strike by railroad workers interfered with mail delivery. Cleveland used federal troops to break it up. He thought he was well within his rights as president, but Democratic labor leaders in the North were furious. Democrats were completely divided when Cleveland left office in 1897. He had acted decisively during emergencies, but he also paved the way for 16 straight years of Republican presidency.
Grover Cleveland, the 22nd and 24th president.
Grover Cleveland served as the 22nd and 24th president of the United States. That's right, he's the only president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. He was also the only Democrat nominated during the Republican-dominated time in the White House, which began with Lincoln in 1860 and ended with Taft in 1913.
And that concludes part 7 of my video series called The Mark of the Beast is about human seed, DNA, and defiling God's temple. I wish you all a great week, and don't forget to pray for me and each other, and to walk on that narrow path. Read your Bibles every day, and warn others about the mark of the beast, and warn others about the identity of the Antichrist, and Operation Warp Speed, and the Abraham Accord, and so on. Okay, hallelujah.